Hey, Mom.
Hey, Sean.
How are you doing?
Little laryngitis, otherwise, good.
You're good? Okay. Well, it's good to see you here today, this morning. How's
Thank you.
Dad?
He's fine.
Good. Well, did you think about what you shared yesterday or last Sunday in terms of the affirmations and the information you gave people? People were moved, particularly, Mom, by your tenacity in terms of raising me and someone like myself. So I don't know, what are your first thoughts that come to you this morning from last week?
Well, I you were an interesting child. You were very ambitious, always very busy, and kept us on our feet and trying to keep you in a place that was good for you
Mhm.
as best possible at that time.
Yeah. Well, you did great, Mom. Let's be honest. Here I am.
We're both still here, so
We're
yes,
both still here. We're still patituing every day. So
we got it.
let's dive into something that I know you're passionate about, and that is creating sales and motivating people to action. And how do you close those deals? Let's talk about sales. And what are some of your key, for those who don't know in the audience, my mother's been in real estate, Silicon Valley now for 30 plus years.
42 years.
How many?
42.
42 years. Well, 42 years of real estate in the Valley. You've definitely got some great insights in terms of how to move people to make a decision to buy, to purchase, to close the deal. What advice do you have for people, anybody out there who's getting nervous or uncomfortable or trying to close deals out there and create some money right now? What advice do you have for them, Mom?
Well, it just takes tenacity. You have to stick with it. And I personally come from a place of what's best for the client. And here, it's a little unique in that it's really not as difficult to sell people things as in other places because it's a very desirable place, being Silicon Valley. Even back when I started, it was still a smaller version of that and very desirable. Um, in sales, you go on appointments and do a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, you ask for them to, listing or to purchase. If you're out showing property, you have to ask, and I think that is one of the major stumbling blocks for most people. They don't ask. They just, go do and wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're waiting to see if the buyer is going to buy, your odds are diminished because who knows when wait and see is. Whereas if you go show property with the intent of, I'm going out to sell a house today, your odds are increased dramatically. And the same going on a listing appointment. You might be being interviewed with other realtors. People like to at least talk to maybe 3 and sometimes many more. And so if you don't ask, somebody else is going to ask and get it. So I think
go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I think asking for the order, whatever the order is just about as important as showing up. Because if you don't ask, the odds are not in your favor at all.
Showing up. I'm going to stick with ask. You got me interested in showing up. We run across constantly, and I run across constantly, people who are even afraid to ask for help from people. So what is it that people can do to overcome whatever fear they have, to ask somebody for help, for money, to close the deal, to buy their product, to step up and just ask for whatever it is that they're looking for and help? What do you think holds people back from doing that?
Just do it.
Right. I mean, it's easy to say, Mom, but it's a slogan, right? For Nike even, but still, a majority of people have a challenge with this, Mom, asking. So
Okay.
what can somebody do who, let's say, has never done it like you've done it for 42 years, like I learned from you being a kid through osmosis? What can someone do who hasn't had that capacity or is starting where you were 42 years ago? What were you doing 42 years ago when you were being rejected at first? And you've been through ups and downs and all the cycles that have been, that we've had economically. And now you've lived long enough to see this one. It shows you if you live long enough, you'll see it all. What advice do you have people who are just starting?
Well,
Testing waters. I'll stop talking.
Sure. It depends what you're doing. Example, real estate, there's tremendous training that teaches you what to do. So it becomes incumbent upon you, the realtor, to...
What did you learn though, Mom? Specific. To ask, to be stronger at asking, to be stronger at not being afraid.
Yeah, they didn't exactly teach that.
You have a fearlessness. I know, Mom. So I'm asking you now. I'm going to go back to it. What advice would you give? Not what you went through, but you're from your own experience. What advice can you give people to find that strength, that tenacity, that intestinal fortitude, to be able then to ask for what it is that they're looking for?
A great enough desire for whatever you're asking. So, you have to desire it to be able to overcome. It's a fear, fear of rejection. And I don't know, in real estate, you rather get overdosed in rejection, and pretty soon it's like no big deal. But that's not the case probably for most people, that they have the opportunity to meet so many people to, hear no so often. And so I think it's being committed to whatever your goal is. Why you want
a compelling goal. So yesterday we heard about it's got to be a compelling goal.
Yes.
And that when you are providing what your customer wants, what's best for the customer, you're more successful. Is what we also heard. We've heard it a number of times, which is amplifying what you're saying as well.
Yeah.
So it's easier to sell when you're selling what customer wants, what's good for them. And then the goal is your goal in all that was to make a happy customer, was it not?
Yeah.
And if the customer was happy, what would happen?
You got more business.
They come back and sell the house and buy another one, right?
Mm-hmm. Or they refer you to other friends, co-workers, so on.
So there's two things that are important about what you're saying, Mom. One, your focus is on getting the customer what it is that they most desire, want, and what's best for them, so that they're going to be happy over the long term, not selling them a house that later they're going to be like, why did we listen to that lady? We bought this house, right? Instead, they're going, this was the greatest decision we made. How wonderful. We need to refer Norene to somebody else, right? Right. So, and then two, what I hear you say, your goal is not the money, but the goal was to make a happy customer and give them what they want, so that you now are creating a longer term relationship with them.
Correct.
It became easier to do this as you did more and more.
Sure.
Like in practice, you're practicing a muscle. And what I'm trying to do is trying to reframe everything so it directs back out to everyone's watching, so they can apply it.
Yes.
Every
no gets you, and you can look at things in all kinds of ways, but every no gets you closer to a yes. So, it's like not taking it personally. It's just the way it is. And that no gets you closer to a yes.
This is an important statement you made here, that not to take it personally when it's a rejection, when it's a no, when it's I'm not interested, when it's like, what are you doing here? What do you do? What exercises do you do to believe in yourself, to build up your confidence so that you're not influenced by somebody else on the outside? Um, you know, external forces are not influencing you. You're good with who you are. You're confident in who you are, and therefore you're not going to be influenced by other people's rejections or whatever it may be. What do you do to keep strong?
I just am committed to my goal. And so I'm so committed to what I want to have happen that it it it's not I don't take it as rejection. I would say probably in the beginning, you feel rejected, but it's a part of life. If you're going to be in sales, you're going to be rejected.
And
And
everybody's in sales,
yeah, one way or another,
one way or another.
yes, actually, yes.
I'm
So,
selling myself. You're selling yourself. You're trying to get a job. We're all selling, and I just think people
well,
don't always pay
well,
attention to this fact,
yeah,
Mom.
yeah. For us, it's like a job interview. Every client's a job interview because they don't have to work with me. There are plenty of other realtors, and I mean, plenty. And
More than ever.
well, yeah. And so it's just about sticking to it. And if that's what your goal is, because a lot of people come into real estate and they don't really have that kind of a goal. I think they came to see what would happen, and if you know,
Mm.
and when it didn't happen the way they thought it would happen, they're gone. And so they didn't have a defined goal that they were going to do this and they were going to help people and make a difference in their lives. Um,
We heard about this yesterday with Gary, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch it at all.
I was.
Gary Schoen, you did. So he talked about compelling goals, Mom,
Hmm.
and that the key to anybody being successful is this compelling goal to be able to keep going through the hardship of whatever endeavor they have in front of them. How do you go about setting goals, and especially like a compelling goal? Because that's what you're talking about. You're so committed to this that it's compelling to you, the goal. How do you set that compelling goal?
I decide what I want to do. Sometimes it's a new car. Sometimes it's just to hit the goal to be the top salesperson.
Hmm.
Um, it just varies for me. I
But
mean,
you're driven by goals.
the overarching goal is the service to the client, but then beneath that, there may be other goals that um, I set. You need something when you're in sales. You need something to keep moving forward.
Yeah, but you're unique, Mom, in that I can think back now, and you would set goals, and you would achieve those goals, and you would post those goals. These are beyond the affirmations. The affirmations might be on top of the goal, but you would set goals.
Yes,
You would move those goals forward consistently. And so I'm wondering what it is you did. What is it about those goals? And where did you learn to set goals like that? Or was it something you grew up with? Or was it your mother who set goals? And
no,
how
no.
did this all come to be?
Well, from some um, seminars, you know, um, probably a lot of things came from seminars because there are people there that had a lot more experience and were teaching you about sales.
Mhm.
So it all, it's not like you drop in and you turn into top producer unless you just are extraordinarily lucky. Uh,
Or have a great network of rich people who can sell
yeah,
their homes.
a couple of houses in San Francisco, yeah,
Yeah,
and
not bad.
makes your year. And so,
It's
uh,
the goal, Mom. It's the goal. Let's go back to the goal. Let's stay focused on this
yeah,
because we're getting comments right now from Paul Nambi, who's saying, great, great advice, Mom. What is it at the goal? How like sit with me for a minute. Where does that come from for you? Where does that goal come from? Like, it emerges from inside of you, and then you this is my goal, and I'm going to go do it. Close your eyes and think about that for a minute. Where is that coming from, and how are you coming up with that goal? Whatever that goal is.
I don't know that I can explain it. It just is what I think about.
But you have something inside of you that's like always setting goals, right? Always new goals. They can be small goals, like micro goals, like Gary was talking about. These are micro experiments.
Wow.
But you are excellent at setting goals, and so even if it's next Sunday, you think about this and sleep on it. Something inside of you is unique in this way.
Well, I think goal setting came for me out of necessity when I had this little boy, and
That wouldn't be me.
had to make some decisions about this little boy. And so from that came, I guess, lifelong goals for you, that,
So I became the goal.
yeah. You were.
I guess that's compelling to a mother. Let me tell you, I understand. I've seen it all around the world. Mothers many times make better entrepreneurs and better business builders because they're driven by the compelling goal of helping their family and their children.
Yeah. So there were many opportunities to set goals when you were young, with the school, and mostly school, and not so much with just people in general. It was a school. So that's where goals for me started.
Gotcha.
And it was out of necessity. So it just became natural for me to decide and make a goal of something.
You know what I'm thinking about, Mom, here?
What?
All those goals and all that goal setting you were doing, I was learning from you at those moments. Even when it didn't look like I was, because it sticks with me, and I know what you're talking about, because the intensity you would work towards those goals, which I didn't know I was the goal, or I didn't understand. I was too young, right? But I knew, and I could feel the intensity of what you were going towards, and could, through osmosis, was able to gain that. Oh, I lost you, Mom. Hold on.
No, I'm here.
Here you are. No, I mean the screen. I see it.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying.
So what does that mean for people who have children? Like, I'm always drawing around Zane, and I do my goals. I do all my stuff around Zane, so I can tell he's sucking it in, right? It's taking a sponging it up. I'm more intentional now with Zane because I know I can see him. He wants to draw arrows. He's excited about drawing arrows, right? And so we are learning as children from a young age, from our mothers, from our parents, and your actions were such that they were noble, right? In terms of trying to figure out what to do with the school.
Your child is quite noble, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Shall let me think about it.
Right. And what's more noble than to help your children, right? And then to shift schools to be more open to children who are a little different, right? And so what advice do you have for parents or anybody who's out there right now watching around working within difficult situations with difficult kids, difficult children, but also difficult systems that kids are part of, that when a kid doesn't fit into those systems, what's some advice you have for parents in those situations?
Well, I don't know. What's best.
You do know.
Well, I'm going to say I don't know what's best for everybody, but what worked for me is just to look at the child and the situation and set a goal, and that clarifies much clearer your plan for the school or for the treatment or whatever it is, and it'll keep you on track. That, and in the end, it's going to be this. I mean, and for you, there were early ones to do with your life as an adult. So there were goals along the way and for the situation at hand. And then there was for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Did you reach some of those goals, Mom?
Well, it's hard to say right now. It was
the verdict's still out. I still might go to jail.
I know. You're still a work in progress.
That's for sure. I'm getting smarter. Hopefully, 53 years.
Yeah, really. Huh? Well, for instance, in school, in your very beginning, look, this is the kid that the first day at kindergarten, I walked back over to pick him up, walking home. Sean, how was your first day at school? Well, Mom, that teacher told me to color the squares purple and the circles orange and triangles yellow. And I told her I already know how to do that. And she didn't even teach me anything new, that lady. And I go, well, that's your teacher, Miss Jones. And so I go, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And indeed it was. So the first goal was to keep you in kindergarten.
Right. That didn't work. Did that work? Did I make it through kindergarten?
Yeah, you stayed in kindergarten. Wasn't easy, but I got you in. And so a lot of them were just to keep you where you were. And then it became apparent that maybe where he is not the best place. So then other goals along that line. So initially, all my goals were centered around my children. And
that's great. So that's great. And then, but that's not a very manly thing to do, or men don't seem to have those same type of goals. It seems to be mothers that have goals around children. I don't know if you can see I can see Patty Jones, Barbano Jones has written a comment on this.
Hey, Patty.
Hi, Patty. You know what I'm thinking, Mom, is that I know it was difficult, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry it was so difficult for so many years. I really do mean that with all sincerity. And
well, I don't
really know. I mean, part of me, realizes that somehow I had a gift of ejecting myself or getting myself ejected out of different environments that were not working for me.
You were so good at it.
Yeah. If it doesn't work for me, I'll find a way out of it. And I think that's an important lesson I try sharing with everybody out there as well, is that, if the environment, don't be in an environment that's not supportive, conducive, or working for you. Get out of it, find a way out of it. And when I was a kid, I didn't even know that consciously. It was all subconscious behavior at some level to get me out of that environment,
Maybe.
Which I know must have created just tremendous stress and torment on your end. Again, I'm sorry for that. Hopefully right now we can move past and share more about, because I know I'm not the only child out there like that,
No,
there are other mothers and other people who are dealing with this, and those kids could be the next great entrepreneur, or they could grow up to be an entrepreneur, and they're not being challenged necessarily in the way that they need to be challenged. And what we learned and what we know, and Gary was really strong on this when he was on the show, is that our education system stuck in the 1890s still, right? It's not designed to help us be the best we can be as humans. It's more of a factory model. What did you do, and how did you try to find different education locations for me, and how did you experiment with different environments for me to try and excel or be challenged in a way that I needed to be challenged at the time?
Well, I mean, really, at that time, there was, it was the dark ages. There wasn't an awful lot.
Still might be.
Pardon?
It still might be the dark ages in education.
Yeah, well, they're a little lighter, I think, than they were maybe. But so I don't know, Sean, we just let you follow. You were interested in playing the guitar. So we bought you a guitar. You took guitar lessons. And
you let me, I was dissecting animals at one point, and you let me bring home like cats and stuff to that.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't like that, I'm sure.
No. Yes. And I had to, there, the teacher, he wanted to put you, mainstream you into the biology class because you were so interested in it.
Mhm.
But the school, of course, said no. And so he came to me and wanted me to see if I couldn't get that to happen. And I said, okay. And so I went over and started talking to them about it. And eventually they agreed to put you in. And you got a straight A.
Yeah.
And,
So it's
you know,
possible.
pardon?
It's not all F's.
And you did bring home those animals. And, but that was your interest at that time. And I don't know, I sought out reading help for you because school wasn't making it. You were never going to read if it was left up to them. And so,
See what I'm talking about, Mom? Right there. Just that. You didn't. You may not have caught it, but I caught it. Everybody else saw it. You're like, and there, nobody else was going to do it, so I had to step in and do it. Where does that come from? That.
just happens.
It's in you. You're saying. Was your mother like this?
But it
Was
was
your mother like this? Who?
that, pardon me?
Was your mother like this?
No,
Mm,
very soft spoken. And
I only
no,
remember a little bit of. Your
I'm
mother.
not soft spoken when I'm not.
No, not like that. Not like you will. Okay. Well, you have something inside of you, Mom, that's very strong. And I'm so grateful for how you've influenced me. And I really appreciate you being on the show.